Hey there, folks. This is Mr. Young, and I'm going to take you through a little bit of information for the worksheet Toxicology Alcohol Overview Worksheet. So you need that worksheet. I'm just going to take you through a little bit, and the rest of it you're going to do very independently. Okay. So here we go. The alcohol that human beings use as a drug is technically called ethanol. It has the chemical formula CH3CH2OH. These black spheres are carbon, the white are hydrogen, the red is oxygen. So CH3CH2OH. You might want to write down ethanol on your worksheet. And so human beings take in alcohol in a bunch of different forms: beer, wine, spirits, liquor, and we take it in by mouth. It goes down to the stomach. In the stomach, our body absorbs about 15% of the ethanol that is in any beverage, and then the liquid moves down to the small intestine. In the small intestine, that's where your body absorbs about 85% of the ethanol or alcohol that is in any drink and puts it into your bloodstream. So now the alcohol is in your bloodstream, where it gets carried to your brain and the rest of your body, where it has various different effects. Now, you may have heard the term BAC, blood alcohol content. In some places, they say that stands for blood alcohol concentration. Either term is fine. It's the same thing. So here's a visual to help you imagine what BAC actually means. So all these squares, or cubes here, these cubes represent 100% of your blood. And if we look at one of these, that would be 1% of your blood, because this is a 10 by 10 grid. So there are 100 cubes. And then if we zoom in on 1% of your blood and we divide that up again into 100 parts that are equal, one of these tiny, tiny, tiny little cubes would be 0.01% of your blood, 1/100th of a percent. Now in New York State, if your blood reaches a level of 0.08% alcohol content, that is called DWI, driving while intoxicated. So 8/100ths of 1%, and you can see right down here, that's not very much alcohol in your bloodstream to have a pretty strong effect and to get you in big trouble if you happen to be driving or something like that. And you'll learn more about that later in this activity. Okay, so you may have heard of a breathalyzer. Breathalyzer is a device that can measure the amount of alcohol in someone's bloodstream. And in New York State, if you get convicted of driving while intoxicated, or DWI, you may even have what's called an interlock device put on your car as part of your punishment, where you cannot drive your car unless you blow into this device and show that your blood alcohol level is essentially 0. Okay, now, why can we use breath to test for alcohol? So here's how it works. A human being swallows some alcohol. The alcohol is absorbed into their bloodstream in the stomach and the small intestine, and then the bloodstream carries the blood all around your body, and of course it carries the blood to the lungs. Now, in the lungs, a certain percentage of alcohol actually goes out into your breath, and it's a consistent ratio. Every time you breathe, if there's alcohol in your blood, a certain exact small ratio of that alcohol goes out in your breath. And so that means we can use this breathalyzer device to measure your ethanol that's in your breath, the alcohol in your breath, and we convert that to blood alcohol concentration because there is a consistent ratio. So we can measure the alcohol in your breath and know how much alcohol is in your bloodstream. Okay, now these are some really important numbers to know in terms of percentages of alcohol in your bloodstream, and in New York State, how these are categorized. So from 0.5% to 0.8%, that is called, and 0.18% is a higher, more drastic level. We'll talk about it in a minute. But basically, DWAI, driving while ability impaired, driving while intoxicated is the next level, and aggravated DWI is the more extreme level of classification. DWAI is if the blood alcohol content is 0.05% to 0.07999999%. Okay? Then when you reach 0.08%, you have reached DWI, and that goes up to 0.17999999%. Okay? And then if you are at 0.018% or higher, you've reached aggravated DWI, which is much more serious. And you'll learn more about these numbers and how New York State treats them in another of the activities later. Quickly grab your reference tables, hit pause and grab your reference tables because we're going to add some notes and put an example in for calculating blood alcohol content. Okay, so here are some things you might want to write down. BAC stands for blood alcohol content or blood alcohol concentration. In these calculations, the percent alcohol in any beverage is the proof number divided by 2. I'll show you an example in a minute. OZ stands for ounces. LB stands for pounds. You might also want to write down DWI is 0.08% or more. DWAI, driving while ability impaired, is 0.05 to 0.07999% alcohol in your blood. Okay, so here's an example. We're going to do an example with a 185-pound man who consumes 3 shots of Jack Daniels, which is 80 proof, in 1 hour. And we want to figure out what is his blood alcohol content. Okay, we have to use the male formula. Okay, and first thing we have to do is figure out the percent alcohol. We take the proof number, which is 80, and divide by 2. That means that beverage is 40% alcohol because it's 80 proof. The volume consumed. He takes 3 shots, and each one is 1.5 ounces. So 3 times 1.5 is 4.5 ounces. Then we plug everything into the formula. 0.071 times 4.5 ounces times 40% divided by his body weight, 185 pounds, gives us 0.06908. We can round that off to 0.07% BAC. So he qualifies as DWAI, but not DWI. Okay, here's another example. Hit pause and try to do this one on your own. Okay, here we go. I'm going to show you the answers. All right, 140-pound woman, 4 shots of 1.5 ounce each, and the rum that she's drinking is 90 proof. First thing, calculate the percent of alcohol. It's 90 divided by 2. That's 45% alcohol. The volume consumed, 4 shots times 1.5 ounces each. That's a total of 6 ounces. Now we plug into the formula for females, 0.085 times 6 ounces times 45% divided by her body weight of 140 pounds. We come out to 0.1639, or that's 0.16% BAC. Okay, what are you going to do now? You're going to follow that checklist and go through the rest of these activities. Make sure you check the key, and you don't have to hand in anything, but this is your chance to learn what you need to know about alcohol and its effects on the body as a drug and as a poison. Okay, thanks for watching.